Hello class. Tonight we're going to be learning how to establish and conduct a collaboration meeting in Adobe Connect. This would be important if you have teachers throughout a school district that can't get together for a meeting, or if you have parents that you want included in a meeting that cannot physically come to a meeting. Now, a couple assumptions before we started. You must have an Adobe Connect account. Many schools already have Adobe Connect, and you can also establish a 30-day free trial. So either of those options would work. Now, for the purpose of this class, I have set up a meeting that we will join shortly. But prior to joining that meeting, I want to show you how you would set this meeting up in Adobe. So we're going to go to Adobe Online, and this is what your home screen will look like once you're in Adobe Connect. There's different things you can do. There's a calendar function, a training function. But what we're going to concentrate on today is conducting a meeting. So you're going to go up to the Create New, and we're going to click on the meeting button, and this will start the process. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to enter all of the meeting information. This is what's required for you to send out invitations so that others can join this meeting. Now we're going to have a staff orientation for new teachers. That's what we're going to call this. We're going to call it staff orientation. And then under the custom URL, just so that people don't get confused about what the meeting is about, we're going to call that by the same name. So you're going to type that in twice. Now, in the summary, I think it's very helpful to be able to list what the purpose of this meeting is. So we're just going to quickly type that in. Now, another thing you could do in this block, you could add your agenda. You could talk about scheduling, team assignments, whatever you want your agenda to be for this meeting. You could type that in this block, and that's going to go out in the email reminder. Now, you're going to set a start time. So for the purpose of this class, the time is not very important because you're going to set that time for whenever you need to conduct your meeting. Now, one thing important that you need to do is consider that not everyone that you want in this meeting may have access to Adobe Connect. So you're going to check the box that says anyone who has the URL can enter the meeting room. That way, all you're going to do is send out a link, and anybody who has the link can join the meeting. Now, another neat option that you have below, audio conference settings. Sometimes computers don't do exactly what we want them to do, and we always like to have a backup. If someone's computer fails, you may want to have a phone number that they can dial into. So if you have this option, you could click this include other audio conferencing with this meeting, and you would type the information in this block. Now, we won't be doing that for this meeting, but I just wanted to point that out. Now you're going to click the next button. Now on this slide, you're going to select who is participating in this meeting. Now, different people have different rights in a meeting. As the meeting host, which that's me, I can control the meeting, I control the screen, and I can control who's entering the meeting and what part they have. Now, learners don't have as many rights as I do. All they can do is listen in the meeting, and they can enter in the chat box. So for this meeting, we're just going to add myself, and we're going to add some learners. So now we have the invitation for our meeting. As you see here, the items that I entered earlier are here under the staff orientation, and the beginning of my agenda is here in the time. And we're going to email this out, and that link will go to anyone that you want to attend the meeting. You can also use this email and forward it out to anyone else that you want to attend. And once we click finish, that will establish our meeting. Now, if we were going to enter this meeting, we would click on this URL and we would go into that meeting room. Now, since I just set this meeting up, we won't have any guests in that meeting, and we wouldn't have anything to see in this meeting room. So we're not going to go into that meeting room. I'm going to go back to another meeting room that I've already established. And here you can see a few other meetings that I have set up on my account. And the meeting that we're going to join is called the Summer Camp Planning Meeting. Now, we're going to this meeting, and for the purpose of this instruction, I have the other participants already joined in. And so when I click on this summer camp, I would click on the summer camp meeting, and that would take you to this meeting. All I need to do is click down here on my meeting room, and I'm going to join the meeting that's already in progress. Now, this takes you into the Adobe Connect meeting room. You kind of can think of this as the conference room where you're holding your meeting. It shows me as the host over here, and it shows that I have two participants. I have one participant, Jane, and one participant, Christy. Now, say I get into the meeting and I see, well, that's not everybody that I wanted. I can go up here to meeting, and I'm going to manage access and entry, and I'm going to invite participants. Once I click on this button, it's going to give me a URL, and I can either compose an email, or I can just simply highlight this and send it over instant messaging or any other means to anybody that I still need to come to the meeting. If you look here on the name, this is why I added the camp planning ending to this, because people really won't know what this number means, and they won't know what number they're attending. Now, we already have our participants in the meeting, so I'm going to cancel out of this, and we're going to start our meeting. Now, the participants that are in this meeting with me, because they're in the same room with me, they have their devices muted so that we don't hear theirs also. But what I can do first of all is I can start my webcam. You're going to have to allow access in order to start the webcam, and then you would click on Start Sharing again. Now, once I start sharing, the participants on the other side of this conference can hear me talking, and they can see what's on my screen. They see the same screen as I do. So for the purpose of conserving bandwidth, I'm going to stop the webcam so that we're not, so that we have more, so that it doesn't slow down the internet too much. So I'm going to just stop this webcam at this point. Now, one other feature that I want to point out before we go too much further, say at the bottom here, I'm going to type in this chat box, is everyone here? And someone in the room may realize that, well, Tom's not here, but he's going to be 15 minutes late. So if somebody knew that, perhaps they would type that response to me. So I'll just kind of wait and see if anybody, you know, are we missing somebody, and who else is going to join us before I get started on the meeting. Now, everyone else in the meeting, okay, see here we have a response from Jane. Jane is telling us that Tom's going to be 15 minutes late. Great, that tells me that Tom's going to be here, but I don't really want to wait 15 minutes, so I can go ahead and get started. Now, what if I need to discuss something in those first 15 minutes that really he should not miss? One thing I would want to do is go up here to my meeting, and I'm going to click Record Meeting. Now, I'm not going to, what that will do is that we'll record it, and there will be a link that I can send out to anyone who missed it. So we're going to just call this Summer Camp Planning Meeting 0. That just means it's the first recording. And I could type a summary in here. So once we click on this button, now we have this red dot up here, and that tells us that the meeting is being recorded, and we can stop the recording or pause the recording at any time. Now, as we get started in the meeting, and I'm sharing information with my guests, perhaps I want to share a summer camp packing list, or are there any other document, maybe our schedule or the agenda. I can share different things down here with this function. So I'm going to share a document. Now, I've previously uploaded this document. If I had not already put this up here, I would go down here to browse my computer, find whatever document I needed, and upload that. Say you think of some document in the middle of the meeting that may be helpful. You always have this option as the leader of the meeting. So I'm going to bring up our camping checklist, and I'm going to click OK. And this will bring up the camping checklist so that the rest of our team can see it. Now, just to make sure, I'm going to type, let's see who's attending here. I'm going to say, Christy, can you see the slide? Just to make sure that she can actually see what I can see, that she's seeing the sleeping gear, tents, cooking gear, sports equipment, just to make sure that I'm not the only one still in the meeting, but they can follow along and I can point things out as we're going through the meeting. And this chat function is really neat. That way, if anybody's having trouble with their audio or anything like that, you're able to chat down here and make sure that you bring them into the meeting. Okay. Oh, great. So Christy even gave us some extra things, and Jane likes the checklist, so great. We can get feedback down here. So I'm going to stop sharing that. One other function that we have, let's say that we just want to maybe take input from other people. I'm going to, kind of make a list as we're talking about it. I could add the whiteboard, and then I can write on that whiteboard, whatever I want, whatever I'd want to write on there, dates, whatever we're talking about right now, you've got that function on here. So that's just another option that you have for things that you're sharing. And then we'll go back to stop sharing this checklist. Now, just two other functions that I want to share on here. See, Jane is really involved in here. Jane keeps saying dates are good, camping food, great. So it's a good way to be able to keep everybody involved in the meeting. Now, one other option that we've had, if we'd like to have more of a discussion going on, we can, as the leader of the meeting, can click over here on discussion, and that's going to change the view that everyone else has. I could begin taking notes down here. I could start my webcam again, as we did earlier, and that way I'm broadcasting to the whole group. Sometimes people maybe listen better if they can see your facial expressions, but we still have the chat box down to the bottom. Also, say we want to ask, is 4th of July weekend, will that work for you? I could go over here to this poll, and I can, I can pick any sort of a question, and I would send that out to my audience, and they could answer, and then I could broadcast those results. So that's just another option you have on this screen. The collaboration screen, just a different layout of the screen, but it gives you another area over here where I can upload different files. If we get to the point where I have a lot of information on my computer that maybe would be helpful to this meeting, it gives me an option to upload those. So this should give you an overview of what you can do once you are in the meeting. So we're going to say that we have concluded this meeting, and I've set a date for the next one. So I'm just going to send a quick chat message out that says, see you at the next meeting. We've already discussed the meeting times and everything like that, but just in case somebody's lost their audio, I would just kind of send a note out that says that we're done. We've conducted all of our business. I may wait a few minutes and see if anyone answers, but the important things are done. So I'm going to go ahead and go up here, and I'm going to stop our recording because we've recorded all of the important things. So at this point, anything that goes on this screen after this is no longer going to be recorded in the meeting. Now, Jane tells us again, okay, so Tom's going to be late again. Maybe we don't count on Tom anymore for our meetings. So at this point, we have finished our meeting and we're done. We've accomplished everything we needed to do. Now, I'm going to go back to Adobe Connect, and this is where, like I said, you need to have this account set up in order to, this is where you set up your meeting in the first place. Now, this is our meeting list that we have, and what I want to be able to do is be able to send out the link for the meeting that we just had to Tom because he's always late. So we're going to go back here to our summer camp planning meeting. We're going to click on that one, and we're going to go over here to recordings. Now, once we click on recordings, I can click on this link, and remember how it said it had that 0 at the end of it? That was the recording. Our meeting was 4 minutes and 17 seconds long. I would click on that link, and it's going to give me a URL down here that I can send out to anyone that happened to miss the meeting, or anyone that maybe wasn't invited or needed more information, or if we needed to go back and review what we discussed. So this is a really great option for tracking what went on during the meeting. So Adobe Connect, like I said, is a great tool for setting up meetings. For people that can't all join in the same place, you have the option to upload documents, to collaborate, to share, and to make decisions while you're in the meeting because everyone can join in. I hope everyone was able to learn something from this meeting and that you'll be able to conduct more effective meetings through collaboration, even while not in the same physical location. Have a great evening.